If your Azure Virtual Desktop sessions ever freeze, lag, or fail to connect, your firewall might be the culprit. So let's uncover what's really going on. Hello everyone, I'm Travis and welcome back to Seraltos. If you're running Azure Virtual Desktop in a production environment, there's a good chance you've got a firewall sitting between your session host and the internet. And that's a smart move, as long as those session hosts can reach the AVD service endpoints. In this video, we're going to dig into the network requirements for AVD and walk through how to troubleshoot network issues on both session hosts and clients. Before we jump in, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend or colleague. And check out my courses at udemy.com. The links are below. And a big thanks to my channel members. Your support means a lot. All right, back to it. Tracking down network issues is never fun, so avoiding them altogether is always the goal. In this video, we're going to look at the FQDNs and IP endpoints AVD relies on and the steps you can take to prevent and resolve network problems. Let's start with the network requirements for session hosts. AVD doesn't require any inbound connections from the internet to the session host. You don't need to open up firewall ports for that, but it does require outbound access to specific fully qualified domain names or FQDNs and IP endpoints. If those get blocked, you might see errors or session hosts might not connect at all. And don't overlook SSL inspection and proxy servers. If you're using either, Microsoft recommends bypassing them for all AVD traffic. Microsoft maintains a full list of all the FQDNs and endpoints required by AVD for both session hosts and clients. You'll find it in Microsoft Learn. A link to the documentation referenced in this video is in the description below. It's a long list, no question. But if you're using Azure Firewall or network security groups, you can make life a lot easier by using service tags in your rules. A service tag is a bundle of IP prefixes for a specific Azure service. Microsoft manages it for you so you don't have to constantly update rules. The service tag for Azure Virtual Desktop is called, well, Windows Virtual Desktop. Let's take a look at how to use service tags with a network security group. Here we are at Network Security Groups in the Azure portal. We'll open a network security group. And let's see how to use a service tag on an outbound rule. We'll open outbound rules under settings and add a new rule. Under both source and destination, we have options for any IP addresses, my IP address only, that's available under destination, service tags, and application security groups. Let's create an outbound rule with the destination source set to service tag. And this would be similar if we were doing an inbound rule. Under destination service tag, we see all the service tags available. Let's search for desktop, and it still has the old name Windows Virtual Desktop, but let's select that. And from here, we can finish setting up the rule as needed. These service tags are also available in Azure Firewall. There's also another type of tag called an FQDN tag, which is used with Azure Firewall. These tags represent a group of fully qualified domain names tied to an Azure service, which makes configuring firewall rules a lot easier. But FQDN tags are only available on Azure firewalls. So what if you're not using an Azure firewall? Maybe the firewall vendor provides a list of service endpoints you can use, similar to service tags. But if they don't, the simplest approach would be to allow all outbound traffic from your session hosts. I know that's not always possible. If you have to restrict outbound access, you'll need to create rules based on the list of FQDNs and IP addresses. The good news is that Microsoft publishes that full list in their documentation. Here's the page on the screen. You'll see tabs for both Azure Cloud and the Government Cloud. The table lists everything your session host needs, including domain names, some IP addresses, protocols, ports, descriptions of what each item is used for, and the service tag associated with it. And notice it's not just the Windows Virtual Desktop tag. The first section covers requirements for the AVD agent. Below that, you'll find a list of optional services. These include other Azure services that aren't strictly required for AVD, but are probably still needed. Things like Office Online, Windows Update, and certificate revocation checking. In most cases, you should allow these also. Before we move on, let's take a look at the tip outlined under the table. You'll see that some of the FQDNs in that first table include wildcards. Those are regional. You can find the fully expanded FQDNs by checking directly on the session host. Let's find the regional fully qualified domain name so we don't have to use the wildcards. Start by logging into a session host in the region you're getting the FQDNs from and open Event Viewer. In the Event Viewer, open Application Log under Windows Log. Let's create a filter, and we'll look for Event ID 3701. The log lists all the FQDNs used in that region. You could use these instead of wildcard domain names for more control. Just remember, you need to do this in each region that has session hosts. It would be much simpler, of course, just to use the wildcard. Microsoft also publishes a weekly updated document with all Azure public IP ranges broken out by region and service. If you must create rules by IP instead of FQDN, that file is your friend. It's in JSON format, good for automation, but remember your firewall rules can get stale if you're not keeping up with the changes. So now we've pulled together a long list of FQDNs and IP addresses. How do we actually test if the session host can reach them? Fortunately, Microsoft provides a tool for just that. It's called the AVD Agent URL Tool, and it checks connectivity from the session host to the endpoints AVD requires. It comes with recent versions of the RD agent. Let's jump into a session host and take a look. Here we are logged into a session host. We'll start by going to the RD agent install directory. The default location is C Program Files, Microsoft RD Infra. Then we'll open the folder that starts with RD agent followed by the current version number. From here, run AVD Agent URL Tool.exe. That's the old AVD name. The name for this tool hasn't been updated. Here's the response. It gives us a list of accessible URLs as well as a list of not accessible URLs. It shows that 3 are not available. That's because I blocked them for this demo. Let's go to the firewall and unblock the IP address range for this region. And again, this was done just for this demo. Now that they're unblocked, let's run the URL tool again. And this is what it should look like. Now it shows all URLs are accessible. That's the AVD Agent URL tool. It's incredibly helpful for new deployments and troubleshooting connectivity issues, so keep it in your toolbox. One other item not to overlook, the client also has its own list of required FQDNs and endpoints. The list is at the same page as the session host list. Everything uses TCP port 80 and 443, which is usually open on home networks, but locked down corporate networks may need to make adjustments. There's one more thing that's not on this list, RDP Shortpath. For that to work, the client and the session host need outbound UDP port 3478. I'll link another tool below that lets you test client devices for RDP Shortpath connectivity. This turned out to be a lot more than what I expected when I started planning this video, but I hope it gives you a solid understanding of the network requirements for AVD and how to troubleshoot issues if they pop up. Thanks for watching.